is yearning wherever you wanna go. I'm gonna walk by your side for everything I'm worth. And if the journey makes you stumble or the road is far too long, then backwards we will wander. I will never turn around, 'cause I know everything you said, everything you've done, whatever you want, whatever you need, rely on me.
Yeah. Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Craig Lockett. I'm the lead host of the Recruiter Podcast and the youngest man in the car business, here with my good friend, colleague, and business partner, Mr. Ernie Kasprowicz, otherwise known as Guy Smiley. That has to go back a ways, and Ernie's a little more mature in age now since when I originally met him. We're going to talk a little bit about today, but good morning, Ernie, by the way.
Good morning.
But when Ernie was younger, because he's pretty old. When he was younger, he looked just like Guy Smiley to me. If you guys don't know who Guy Smiley is, I don't know what you were watching with your kids when you were younger, but at any rate. So at any rate, so Ernie Kasprowicz is with me today. And believe it or not, we're going to talk about automotive recruiting today on the Recruiter Podcast. Can you believe that? We're not going to talk about politics, hopefully. We're not going to talk about anybody else's what they do. We're going to talk about what we do in an effort to help dealers recruit and retain top talent in these times. There were some alliterations in there. I hope you caught those. So, just a little bit on Ernie here. For those of you, Ernie has worked pretty much behind the scenes. He's very shy. And Ernie has been with me since 1998.
Or 7. I always thought it was 97. No? You sure?
Yeah, because I started in November of 97.
Okay, so a year later then?
Yeah. So, and then through the years, Ernie was the first trainer that I brought aboard to help me. The old thing goes, the only way to get wealthy is on the efforts of other people. So I took that to heart and figured, okay, I can only make X amount of dollars on my own. There's only so many weeks to work. So, I got an idea. I'll bring somebody else in, teach them how to do it, take a piece of theirs, and then we'll go from there. And 23 years later, here we are.
Yeah.
Broke. No, shit, I'm only kidding. Actually, we've been really blessed, man. I got a really amazing text from my oldest son, Joe Lockard, today. Shout out to Joe. But we're just so crazy blessed. So Ernie was literally the first trainer that came aboard, along with, help me out,
Gene Romo.
I can remember at the time I was rolling around and for a long time in a 1986 Mercedes turbo diesel that was flawless. I love that car. I can't believe I got rid of that car. We drove out to Ohio and did a deal at Montrose Toyota, which was right across the street from Greenwald Chevrolet, where I had gotten my first original management job, and was my first general manager's job like a million years ago. And that was literally right across the street. Montrose is still a client today, like 23 years later. Which is crazy, and we have a lot of those. So again, I'm very blessed to do that. But during that first week, it was so crazy. So I had this recruiting class, and oddly enough, it was pretty interesting. Almost everything that could possibly happen during a week of a recruiting class, recruiting new hires for inexperienced salespeople for a car dealership, pretty much happened that week. And I remember you taking, I don't know, we always say copious notes. But it was crazy, man. It was like you wrote a novel,
Word for word.
word for word. Everything that I said, everything I did, where I moved,
Yeah.
every single moment of the thing. And then of course, some of my campaigns, we tried to switch over to you, and then we grew the company that way. And then, I don't know how many years in, probably 2 years in, you came, quote unquote, inside the office. The office at the time was a home that I owned.
Yes.
We had
Glenn, you.
phone jacks plugged in everywhere and girls laying around. Actually, they were laying around on couches and stuff, making phone calls. It hit me last night. The first phone script was like, so the name of the company is AutoMax, right? So when I came up with the name, it was like AutoNation CarMax. I said, well, I'll put both of them together. We get instant name recognition. So the first time that we would call a car dealership would be, hi, I'm so-and-so from AutoMax Recruiting. You've heard of us, right? Oh, yeah. And we had been in business like 2 months. It's like nobody had heard of us.
Right.
But it was, I always thought that was interesting. But you were on the road for probably 2 years?
Yeah. Yep.
Something like that, right? Then whined and complained about traveling.
Yeah.
And we brought you inside, one of my top 5, 6, 7, 8 best moves I've ever made business-wise in my life. And then I would say it was probably, when did we make you a partner at that one AutoMax conference?
It was in Atlantic City.
Yeah. What was that? Man, isn't that crazy?
I don't even know how many
Has
years
to
ago.
be 15?
That's what I'm coming up
15 years ago,
Yeah.
probably.
with. Yeah.
So in our the actual name of the company is AutoMax, the AutoMax Marketing Company, LLC, of which Ernie is a minority partner in, and then, of course, partner in AutoMax Recruiting, AutoMax Hire, our newest company, which and those companies do, obviously, new hire training for salespeople, BDC, and literally every single position in a car dealership. And we're going to talk about that today. And not so much from an AutoMax. It could maybe sound a little pitchy at times, but we want to pull back the curtain, if you will, for dealers so they understand how to really recruit, the do's and the don'ts, and really how to, based on our experience, which is very vast. But we literally recruit for every single position in a car dealership. I mean, there is nothing in a car dealership that we can't help with and that we can't help you do on your own, frankly. And the newest company, MaxSafe Consulting, which Ernie is also a partner with. My son Joe Lockard is, who's the operations director of AutoMax Recruiting. Ernie's the general manager of AutoMax Recruiting, but Joe is the president of MaxSafe Consulting. And at this point, we have 3 products and services. We're adding a 4th here pretty quick, but one is warranty reimbursement. Make sure that money that you got, and there's a bunch of it, that's sitting there in your dealership that's not been applied for properly, been turned down, whatever. We find that money for you, and you get a big fat check from the OEM. It's so important. And there are a bazillion dollars sitting out there waiting for dealers to get. And we can help you with that. We can also help you with changing your equity position in your car a little bit, and a little different payment plan on how to pay for your automobile, house, whatever. And the number one product, I guess you could say, and the thing that really has really taken off is Permis, is our relationship as an agent and soon to be perhaps a distributor of PermaSafe. I don't know, saying number one disinfectant and sanitizer in the world sounds a little weird because that could be debated, but it is an EPA registered, amazing product. We PermaSafed the studios here at All Systems Go AV. Good. By the way, good morning, Dave. We got Porn Stash Dave producing the show today. Dave, let's see the porn stash. Can you show that to the people?
I'm going to have to come over there to show it, so maybe a little later.
All right. Okay.
Luckily, I don't have a camera on me in here.
Yeah, well, he decided during COVID to grow a porn stash, which is pretty cool. I decided to grow my hair long. I actually cut it last week. It was real long, like real long. But I'm going to let go real long, like really shoulder length long. I'm going to.
You are going to do that.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's no question about it. So anyhow, but with MaxSafe Consulting, it's a pretty interesting company, and we have made a decision. Gosh, that's probably too early to announce that. We've got something that's really exciting that's going to be happening with that here. It could be announced as early as later today or tomorrow. So, but I'm not going to jinx it, and I'm not going to announce it right now. So, so we got those companies rolling. We made the pivot during COVID-19, which I think is very important. And then, and so Ernie's involved in all that. Ernie's involved in obviously the day-to-day operations of AutoMax recruiting. We're going to talk a lot about automotive recruitment today. I want to start with one thing though, Ernie. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for jumping on and watching. I don't do a bunch of shout-outs, but I see you guys, and thank you very much. If you guys should share this around, hey, Matt Canning, get up here to the studio here one of these days, dude, and you can go ahead and promote your new venture. But hi, everybody. Thanks so much, very, very, very much. Please share this thing out, share it to groups and so forth. Last week's show, I don't know, we're at 6,100 views on Facebook and counting. So that's kind of cool. Like to hit 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, whatever. It's good to see people watching this goofy thing. So just to get back to you a little bit, because I want people to know you, because you are. Yeah, it's weird to be with a company 22 years or whatever it is, and still be behind the scenes. Ernie probably in 22 years, I'm going to guess. This is probably going to be pretty accurate. I'm going to guess that Ernie is responsible in one form or another. If we've done somewhere in the area of 19,000, I want you to hear that number for a minute, because that's where a lot of this information comes from today that you're going to be hearing. And I would, if you're in a management position or that's something that you're looking to get into somewhere down the line, I would try to take notes today, because some of the things that we're going to share with you are things that most people don't know. And it's the number one reason why, dealers say, where'd all these people, how'd you do this? Where'd you find this guy? Where'd you find this woman? So we're going to share a lot of that with you today. But Ernie, so 19,000 or so recruiting campaigns, from what we like to say, porters to presidents, everything in between, placed, 185,000 women and men in the U.S., Canada, and Puerto Rico over that time. So Ernie's been involved in, in excess of 10,000 recruiting campaigns in one way or another, has been involved in one way or another of placing over 100,000 people. Think about that, Ernie. 100,000 people in jobs. 100,000 people in jobs.
Bit mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. And I'll go over some statistical data that I looked up the other day. It was pretty interesting. But then people, it's like, you're a voice on the phone, and it's something that we're going to talk about. And Joe started yesterday. We're going to start doing some more Zoom meetings and actually FaceTime in selling rather than doing everything by the phone, because that's basically the way we do things, and through social media. And obviously most of our business is based on repeat and referral business. We spend very little, a minute amount of money on actual advertising. But so, thank you for everything that you've done and do. It's mind-blowing. I've said it a million times, without you, there's no AutoMax, or it looks way, way, way different for sure. So I appreciate your effort and your result and everything about you, the way that you go about your business, and just the man that you are, the husband, parent, friend, and so forth. You're awesome. And in the automobile business, lucky to have somebody like you in a position like we're in, because there's some sketchy people in the recruiting business. And there's sketchy ways to do everything. We have this thing, Anthony talks about it a lot, and I think he's on one of our key components or core principles, if you will, or values, is don't touch dishonest dollars. Now that goes far beyond, a dealer paying us 3-4 times on the same campaign and we keep sending the check back. To keep that money obviously would be dishonest, but there's other ways where you could be dishonest in our business. It is in most businesses in the automobile industry. And we literally always take the quote unquote high road. Always. I will pass on a deal. We've done it recently. If it's just not right, if it feels wrong, it is wrong. Don't do it, kind of thing. So, I wanted to. So, world. This is Ernie Kasprowicz, and he's a huge part, along with the rest of the AutoMax team. And I won't go over everybody's names. There's 20 some of us, and it's just amazing group of women and men. We're. People say you're blessed, and it's. And we've picked the right people. We've also gotten lucky. We've given people opportunities. It's amazing, the men and women that are with AutoMax. It really is. And the length of time, I mean, it's mind-blowing. It's just, people just stay, and they either die or retire. No, they don't.
We haven't had.
No.
Well, we have. But
we have.
They had left.
Right.
I was going to say we haven't had death.
Right.
But they had.
Right.
There is.
Yeah, we killed them. They died after they left us.
They had left. Right.
But yeah, it's pretty amazing, man. It's pretty mind blowing. So that's kind of a cool thing. There's something before I get into, or we get into actually recruiting and actual steps and how to do things. There's something that I think is very important to talk about. I hit it at the end of last week's show with Joe. And that's about dealing with COVID and in your dealerships. And I want to make sure, I just want to take a few minutes to go over that again because it's so important here. Here's what we have. It does not matter where you stand on masks. It does not matter where you personally stand on social distancing. It does not matter where you, and I'm talking to you as a car dealer, where you stand on the Constitution, freedom. I don't believe in it. It's all baloney. The numbers are fake. It changes every day, so I don't believe any of it. Now we have protests and violence, and the numbers are going down from what I read. Here's the real world that we live in. I saw not the other day, it was about a week ago, I saw a customer post a review about a dealership that I think it doesn't matter. A person walks into a dealership, they did not have masks on. He or she, whatever it was, felt unsafe walking into the dealership. Posted a review, slamming them. Get a 1-star review for it. I'm going to tell you what, be ready for those. More importantly, dealers, be ready for lawsuits. So I'm not going to talk about recruiting for a minute, but then I'm going to talk about interviewing people. Someone walks into your dealership, you don't know where they stand politically, you don't know where they stand in terms of their own personal fears, You don't know where they stand in terms of their immune systems. You don't know anything about that human being. All you know is the guidelines under which have been strongly suggested to you to operate your business in. All right, now we're quote unquote open to various degrees. Our business has gone bananas. I mean, that's not exaggerating, right?
Right.
Last 3 weeks, I mean, it's insane how busy we are. Thank you, everybody. And that's awesome. And I see dealers on LinkedIn, I see dealers on Facebook talking about record month, and that's awesome. And that's great. Now, here's what's going to happen. And you can Google this all you want. There's going to be a person walk in your dealership intentionally trying to catch you. Be sloppy. They're going to walk in. They're going to have a mask on. They could have a shield on. They could have gloves on. They could have a full hazmat suit on. Whatever. Or they could just look like you or me. They're going to walk out of your dealership. They're going to walk to a lawyer and say, I feel unsafe. I was just at ABC Motors, and not one person had a mask on in there. It was dirty. People were playing around in there. There was no social distancing, and I want to file suit. I want to file a complaint. Now, you can Google this. You got to go pretty deep. I have anecdotal information from my lawyer, but supposedly the average lawsuit of that nature is going to cost a car dealer $54,000 and some odd dollars. So you can't play around with this. It's great thinking, hey, there's nothing happening in my community. We can take a look at Atlantic County, New Jersey, 271,000 people. There's not been a COVID death. I think there's been 2 COVID deaths. One is too many. Let's get that out of the way. I think there's been 2 COVID deaths or deaths attributed to COVID, let's say that, over the last 7 days in Atlantic County out of 271,000 people. All right, so it's almost, quote unquote, non-existent. So you could tend to get sloppy there as a business owner, depending on the part of the country that you're in and your thought process on how to run your business. Or I'm not going to wear a mask, or no one's going to tell me to do this. And that's fine. That is your right. As an American citizen, at least as of today, it is your right. And as a business owner, as a dealership dealer principal, general manager, general sales manager, service director, whomever, that is your right. It is also the customer's right to sue you if they feel that they are in jeopardy. So be careful. That's all I'm telling you. Be careful. The best case scenario is they hit you with a lousy review. Worst case scenario is they get in your pocket. And there's people that do that. We know it from being in business 23 years. We've gotten sued by professionals
Correct.
that go out and sue people for hiring practices. That's their job. I'm not going to get into them. I'm not sure on how long those things last, but I got a couple doozies, man. But there's people that do that professionally. That they're going to go out, look to sue somebody. Now, let's talk about interviewing.
Just real quick before we get to that part, I just wanted to thank you all the way back to the very beginning. Your kind words a moment ago, and the opportunity to work with you when the company first began.
I know, I'm awesome.
Going
right?
all the way back to those early days. I've been working retail in the automotive business. I started in sales and worked my way up through different management positions. And at that point in time, I had a young family, and I just didn't want to give all that time. The way I looked at retail at that time is I was putting in a tremendous amount of time. Yes, I was making money, but it was kind of thankless. It was almost like as much as you did today, it was over starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
And every month, it's the same thing.
0 to 0.
Yeah, always, forever.
Right.
So I was making other people a lot of money, and I was making, like I said, good money, but a lot of hours where I wasn't having the flexibility and freedom of time and so forth. And a mutual friend, a friend of mine had met you at another dealership. You were doing a recruiting campaign for them, and he immediately picked up the phone and said, "Ernie, you've got to meet this man. You are perfect for what he is doing is you. It's what you should be doing, going forward." I'm like, "Oh, what is it?" And so we talked, and I tracked you down.
Right.
And it was just at the time that you were beginning to look to grow your business because you kind of were saturated. You had 52 weeks of work.
Yeah, 47 weeks.
Right. So you couldn't do more, but yet there was more of a demand for your services.
Yep.
So at that point, it made sense for you to expand. And so we talked. You expressed to me that you were going to bring on a business partner, which turned out to be Glenn Crawford, and you were going to hire somebody to join the company. So I joined you, and it was a risk, no doubt, like anything else.
Especially I made you pay for it.
Yeah, sure. So I had lots of questions, and you mentioned going out to Ohio to learn, to see what you did. And back at that point in time, the individuals that attended our recruiting process, they made a financial commitment. There was a commitment involved.
Yep.
Different time, the world changed, and to your point, we've evolved tremendously in the 23 years that I've now known you. So in any event, it's been a good ride. Like you said, it was about 2 years into it, and I loved doing the recruiting process, being a trainer.
I know.
I loved it. Because I was building clients that, like you said, we found out very hard to get them from not wanting me to come back and do the campaign. So I had a lot of repeat accounts.
Yep.
And I got a lot of referrals from it. I was growing my business within your business, which was the intent. So I was helping your business grow, but I was helping myself grow. And I had flexibility of when I worked, who I worked for, making money. And it was just a great lifestyle. Travel was a little bit, can be overwhelming, and our trainers know that. They do that.
Yep.
And the business was growing, and I don't know, about a year into it, you had asked me to come and join you inside the office, and I'm like, no, I love what I'm doing. This is too good. I'm not going to stop.
Right.
So about a year further into it, that's when I joined you in the office, and I've worn a variety of roles and hats, so to speak. So adaptability is a trait that I feel pretty comfortable about with myself. You mentioned being behind the scene. Well, you gotta fit in. You gotta allow others sometimes to have the lead and the limelight, because that's how we're structured. That's what this company is. But yet I can be effective. So knowing how to be effective and balancing, it's kind of a balancing act. It's always been. There was you and Glenn, so there's different dynamics there. I can't have one of you dislike me and the other guy, that doesn't work. So you got to kind of be able to temper how you perceive things. It's you and Joe, that we work with now. And you also had Michael Reese. You had other people involved. It's been quite interesting to be a part of this. And the whole thing for me was opportunity to have something of my own. Like I put a stamp on it. You mentioned not taking dishonest dollars. All businesses have that opportunity, but we've definitely never done that. So there's a lot that I'm proud of, what we've accomplished, and really more importantly, it's where we're going. One of the things that I've always talked to when I've helped recruit the new trainers to the company was the only constant that is AutoMax is change. We change all the time. We're constantly evolving. We're constantly trying to stay at the cutting edge, the leading, being the company that's leading all others in how we go about providing our services. So we're willing to move. We don't hold on to the old. In fact, that's probably the least thing that that's acceptable. Right?
The big word right now is pivot, and everyone's talking about pivoting and pivoting. We've been pivoting for 20 years.
Yeah.
It's
constantly.
It's like come on.
No, within a week's time, there's something we're doing this week that we're going to realize that as good as it is, we can still do it better. There's there's an avenue, there's something available that we've got to. You can't just sit there and rest on the laurels. So that's been fun. That's been good. So even like doing these podcasts, that's who would have thought that, right? So you know what I mean? So I'm all in.
Yeah.
So
it's been an awesome ride so far, and it's like so many things on the horizon. We got rapid recruiting happening right around the corner, and just
It's the tip of the iceberg.
Crazy stuff. It is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
That's
We've
right.
still, I firmly believe we've only scratched the surface of even how many people use us, know us. It's still
It's crazy.
could explode.
Yeah, for sure.
Should.
It will. And thank you for that. It's
No, it's been
it's awesome.
well.
stuff, man.
I can remember thinking to myself, is this a person I want to hitch my wagon to?
Mm-hmm.
And after I came into the office, so I'd already been with you for 2 years, and
Right.
it's a fledgling company,
Right.
and it was at a point where I'm like, nah, this guy's all right. He's smart, he's intelligent. You have the drive, and the one thing that working with you is you're fully invested in this. Like this is your baby, this company, everything. You live, sleep, dream, breathe AutoMax. There's never, and some owners would have it like, whatever, part-time interest. There's no part-time interest, right? So
Oh.
it's good. It's great.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
I'm real happy to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, same here, man. Yeah. Without your work, like I said, we're screwed.
In the early days, there's a lot of truth to that, in those formative and a lot of years. But now that Joe's been really, it's really helped. I mean, he's really taking the bull by the horns here.
Unbelievable.
The growth it's really came down to the word commitment.
Yeah.
He made a commitment, and at that point,
That's fact.
never turning back.
That's for sure.
So that's how I see it, Joe.
Yeah. That's a good way to see it. Thanks for that. Let me just finish up on this other point, and then we'll get into what this, how to do automotive recruiting, because that's the basis of the show here. But I want to go back to this other thing because it's real important. When you're interviewing people, and it's even more so, it could happen. You could be putting yourself at risk as a dealer in terms of interviews. There are people out there in this world that are bad people, and they are going to come into your dealership looking for you to screw up. They're going to look. I wouldn't be surprised if they measure the damn distance out of how far away from you they are during your initial face-to-face interview. Mask or no mask, cleaning materials around, hand sanitizer, what have you. There are bad people out there that are looking to take advantage of you. Be careful. Be cognizant of it. Be aware of it. Don't be a statistic. Just be careful, ladies and gentlemen. That's one of the reasons that we came up with during this whole thing, remote recruiting. And it's had it's off to such a great success. We don't physically have to be there with Zoom, with telephones, with video. We don't have to be at your dealership to do the same thing that we do traveling around the country and being physically there. We do it remotely. We did, I don't know how many people that Rob Winters got last week, but it was insane.
It's proving to be very successful.
Yeah.
It's not, I thought maybe there'd be a decrease in, the applicants or the quality.
Me too. The show, everything
about
the
it.
Same.
But it actually has not been that way at all.
No.
There's a higher percentage of the people interviewing that are scheduled to interview. So
Right.
that says something to your point that people are still a little bit nervous about going physically to a dealership.
Exactly right.
For their own concerns, so it makes
Right.
sense. So our show ratio was very good.
Right.
And then from there, his interview, there wasn't a downside or lack of quality, meaning his phone interview or his Zoom interview produced the same
Right.
caliber of person turned over to the dealership
Correct.
as if you were sitting face to face. So you didn't need to physically be there
That's right.
to turn that over.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
amazing.
Right.
Just
And,
amazing.
A lot of our trainers, understandably, or they're so accustomed to physically being, I've got to see the person, I've got to have the eye contact, I feel to
Right.
But it hasn't proven to be so far,
Right. Right.
a necessity.
Right.
So there is an optional way to do
Well,
this.
and a couple of weeks ago, we had John Huey do both at the same time.
Yeah.
He had X amount of people because of social
Space,
distancing
yeah.
and space, had X amount of people in the building, on site, at the dealership. Then he trained at the same time a whole nother group via Zoom
Right.
at the same time.
Right.
So it was both remote recruiting and on-site recruiting at the same time. It's like, that's pretty clever.
Yeah, and shout out to John Huey. That's the first time ever that we've done
Yeah,
that.
we didn't
So-
think that up.
No.
He did that.
Yeah, and it was necessity. You know,
Right.
he had so many people that were looking for the opportunity.
Right.
But he was still able to, with that Zoom, be able to have contact interaction with those people
Right.
and the people in the classroom live,
Right.
and be able to have the dealer then make decisions on who they wanted. And they took people from both groups. It wasn't like just the people that were at the dealership got the hires. There were people on that Zoom that came and they got hired just as equally. So the point that you're making, the remote process is highly valuable to a dealership.
Yeah.
It's going to save them a little bit of money in the long run, and
Yep.
they're still going to get results. Our trainers aren't going to get beat up traveling, not paying money to an airline,
A hotel. It's
everything.
just stupid.
Yeah. So if it doesn't need to be done, then don't do it. And I
Right.
think we're proving that it doesn't need to be done. Now,
Doesn't have to be done.
doesn't mean that doing things on site you can't, you shouldn't do that, because
Right.
there's a little bit more of a personal relationship that you
Correct.
have with your contact and
Right.
whatever. I fully get it.
Yes.
But it's
Right.
not. There is an option, I guess, is what
Right.
we're
There
gonna
is
say.
an option.
Yeah.
So, we're good either way.
Mm-hmm.
And when our trainers come into your store, regardless of what your
There you go.
thoughts are in terms of the world as it is right now, we are coming fully stocked with masks, hand sanitizer, the whole shooting match.
Yeah.
So,
If there's a problem, it won't be because of us.
yeah, it will not be because of
No,
us.
we are. When a trainer comes on site at this time period for the foreseeable future, they are doing the nth degree of preparation and safety, and all the protocols are more than followed.
Right.
It's an overabundance, actually, is what
Right.
the term I use with anybody that goes into a campaign.
Right. Yeah.
You've got to go beyond what you're supposed to do
Right.
to be doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. And it's just, and again, it doesn't have anything to do with personal beliefs. It's a matter of what could possibly happen. I played the clip last week from Dumb or Dumber. So you mean there's a chance? There's just that 1 in a million chance that you get some knucklehead in there just looking to make trouble. And I don't want you as a dealer to have to deal with that. And I, as a company, obviously don't want to deal with it either. I mean, we're insured out the butt, but I don't want to mess with it. And you're insured to the max, but you don't want to mess with it. Why mess with it?
Right.
Just do everything right, and it's
You'll never be wrong.
yeah, you'll never be wrong. Exactly correct. So, all right. So, automotive. How to do automotive recruiting? So, we can go back to the beginning of it. I used to sketch out on a legal pad with a pencil stick figures and write out an ad, an help wanted ad, fax it to a newspaper where they would do the camera ready art, and then post that in the newspaper. Well, we've gone from that and basically only that to artificial intelligence, to talent network, to ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to skip around here a little bit, but it's some things you want to write down. If you're not on Google, if your ad is not on Google, you don't have a help wanted ad. You just don't have one. And there's only a couple of ways to do it. One is through AI, which some of the job boards will help you along with, and it just kind of comes along on the ride, or you're going to have to get into some heavy coding to get it done. I want to talk just briefly about, and again, so Ernie, take this in whatever direction you want to go to at whatever time. But dealers, let me just, warning's the wrong word. Here's what I think is happening a little bit. What we see, maybe I'm just more cognizant of it, but what we see right now happening is a dealer is sitting there and going, oh my God, there are whatever statistic you want to believe right now, whatever percentage it is. If it's 13% unemployment, 17%, whatever figure you want to believe, doesn't matter. the point is that there's, and if I was a dealer, I'm thinking, oh my God, think of all the servers that are available to me to hire out there. And man, I'd like to just fill my dealership with servers because they make just such great salespeople, BDC people, customer-facing people, entry-level positions. And it's absolutely true. So they're going to make a Facebook post. Okay, first of all, you got to understand your Facebook algorithms. There are very few people seeing it. It's a complete waste of your time and posting on your timeline. Just stop it. It's silly. It does not work. Now, will it work? Could you get one out of a whatever? Could somebody see it and someone that's related to somebody on your timeline? Yeah, that's possible. LinkedIn, we use LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn. I have 21,000 connections, all in automotive. How many do you have? Right? And who are they? So it's, we get deluged when I post an opportunity on LinkedIn, we get deluged with people. But I have 21,000 connections.
So to your point, it used to be, we need people, put an ad in the paper, right? Just run up an ad.
Right.
Right. Well, that's what the thought process is with either Facebook or LinkedIn or, hey, there's so many people,
exactly.
We can get them.
Right. They'll just come to us. Right.
The clear point you're making is it's not effective as you might think it is. It's not just because the algorithms of Facebook and, like you said, the LinkedIn, it's who you're connected with and how many people. So how many people actually see the ad? Excuse me. So the result you're going to get from doing something like that isn't what you think it's going to be, even though there's all these people that you have to do it differently.
Right. Now, in saying that, let's go back to Facebook for a minute. Mm-hmm. And we do this. Pay for a Facebook ad. Mm-hmm. Go from your page, from your business page. We're doing it right now for Tacoby. Shout out to Jason and Scarlett and Dan and all the great people at Tacoby. Former sponsor of the show when we had to shut down because of the laws in Pennsylvania, couldn't go in the studio. Of course, I put up, we had sponsors that paid us every month, so I immediately put out a cease and desist to them that don't send money. We're not doing the show. Those are dishonest dollars.
There you go.
So reach back out to you, Jason. You can start sending checks again, dude. So at any rate, they're looking to expand. They're looking to put on people. So one of the million things that we do that we can talk about doing, and we're going to talk about doing, we put a Facebook ad, a paid ad, targeted paid ad from our business page on Facebook. So we target who that ad goes to. So that's one of the things in the secret sauce. So dealers, if you're going to recruit using Facebook, it's fine. Spend the money. Use a targeted ad on Facebook from your Facebook page using keywords, and target it. I mean, like you can get very specific with a targeted ad. If you want to know more about that, reach out to us. We can help you through that. Obviously, we can do it for you. But we can help you through that and how to do that. And it does have some effect. There's no question about it. This is like that guerrilla marketing thing, Ernie, that book that came out years ago about hitting everything. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, one of the things that Troy Spring says, and he says so much that I love, but it's like, people say, what's the best way to do it? Well, billboards are dead, direct mail's dead, television's dead, cable's dead, this and that. None of that is true. He says, I'm paraphrasing, so Troy, if I really screw this up, I apologize. But dominate, if you can own a market, if you can own the newspaper, as an example, in your area, own it. If you can run full-page color ads day after day after day after day after day, and you own that space, nobody else is in it, and you get it cheap, do it, own it. If you can run cable and it costs you pennies, own it, run it. do it. It's the same thing. So use everything. So in recruiting, you have to use, in our opinion, and what we do is we use every avenue. Every avenue. Do we need to post jobs every time? Every position? No. We have 750,000 people in our talent network. Now, you don't have, as a dealer, 750,000 resumes sitting there in front of you. But if you start today, instead of putting those in a desk drawer, and you use a system either within your own CRM or you use a system with our friend Stephen Warner from
Automotive HR.
Automotive HR. It's a great situation. Build your own talent network. Your own talent network, and then after a certain amount of time, it'll blow your mind. You're going to go in there one day and go, "Oh my God, I got 1,000 people in my talent network to pick from." That's how we turn around and we have 750,000, and it could be higher than that, of people in our talent network. So do we have to run a help wanted ad? No, but it gets more because you never know who that person is that just moving into town, going to be looking. You just never know. So you have to be there. You have to be there. Who am I going to suggest? All the job boards are good. I think you've got to be, and I'm going to take a little shot at Indeed here a little bit. Those of you car dealers out there that think Indeed is the answer, you might have also thought some other third-party lead provider over the years was the answer until you found out that they were selling your information off to other dealers. Indeed does the same thing. Someone applies for your job, they're getting sent right to a competitor of yours that could be literally right across the street looking, that is posting an ad.
See, I don't think too many people know that at all.
No.
Realize that.
No, they don't. And it's bad, and it's being done. And there's nothing you can do about it. So if you're paying whatever you're paying, $400, $500 for an Indeed ad, well, you're helping that guy across the street. He don't even have to run an ad. Actually, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, he's got to have an ad up there. But you could possibly be helping him because your applicant is getting, quote unquote, sold to or given to your competitor across the street. Kind of a bad deal. So you want to use, however, in saying that, you still want to run a help wanted ad and have your talent network. Have your artificial intelligence working for you to its highest degree. Yes, you want to be on social. Yeah, you want to be on Instagram, LinkedIn, maybe even Twitter, although who knows. Facebook for sure, in a targeted ad. Without a doubt. You want to be on ZipRecruiter, and so on and so forth. You want to have those ads running without a doubt. One of the biggest things, and here's one of the things that when a dealer's sitting down and think, okay, I'm going to take advantage of this, all these people that are out of work that I can take advantage of. So I'm going to get them. I don't need to use an outside vendor. And you might be right. And hopefully today we give you enough information where you really truly would not have to use AutoMax. You really would not have to use us. One of the things that is a must, though, is to do a reverse data search. You have to be able to go into a database of Indeed or ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is really awesome. And be able to, through the use of keywords, tag words, the Boolean principle, if you would, Google it, look it up, and be able to pull those applicants using keywords and then starting a communication with them, so-called passive job seekers that have their resume up out there available, and then chase after or to initiate contact with that person. That's one of the biggest differentiators between what we do and just a dealer trying to, posting an ad.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Well, going back to what you were talking about with the aggregating your own database, accumulating your own database.
So important.
And you had mentioned automotive HR, that's very important. But also what we're also finding though, Craig, is that can be a little bit of a hindrance because there's a second step an applicant has to do to be able to get it into your system like that, where if you had somebody internally, which we do,
Right.
scraping those and putting them into your own database. So you gave people two options. Hey,
Right.
create your own, so doing that is very effective.
Right.
I was talking with Joe the other day. He said it's up almost 40% more people we can get by doing it ourselves that we retain. By creating our own database. So that's something I think people have to keep in mind. And the upside to that is you're going to get more people and have better quality in the long run. The downside is the time. It takes time to manually go through resume after resume after resume after resume.
Well, yes.
Right?
Right.
Rather than the automated process.
Right.
The automated process works again.
It's easier.
Because you're not taking that, no one physically at the store is doing it,
Right.
but you're now asking your applicant to take an extra step.
Correct.
So
And they won't, they're less
40%
likely to.
less do. Let's put it that way. That's
Yeah,
just kind of
right.
so it's a give and take.
Right. Yeah. Hey, listeners, write this down. I'll spell it out to you. It's the Boolean principle. BOOLEAN. It's a matter of matching words together, keywords, tag words, using a bridge, and the bridge could be as simple as and. Let's see, low-lying fruit example, automotive technician. If you're searching that and you're doing a database search within Indeed or ZipRecruiter or what have you, and you put in automotive technician, here's what will happen to you. You'll get resumes or you'll get people pop up in your screen that have the word automotive in their resume somewhere, anywhere, and it could be anything. Like literally, I collect automobiles, right? Mm-hmm. And you have technicians in there, so you could get HVAC technicians or jet engine technicians or whatever. So you want to put automotive and, or use quotation marks. And so, but Google the term Boolean principle, and it'll give you some real ideas. I mean, it's a law, like law of diminishing returns is a law. It's basically an algebra problem. So, and it's something very, very, very important to understand and to know and to realize and to use. But to take, like you're saying, Ernie, to then go that next step. So we go out and we search the databases, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, whomever. If you're still using Career Builder and Monster, okay, have at it. But whoever you're using, and you gather that information, then take that information and put it in another system other than your desk drawer at your dealership, because you're going to want to build that talent network that down the road is going to save you. It could ultimately save you thousands and thousands of dollars, a lot of time, a lot of aggravation. So you have a go-to point, and you put them in there by position or geography or whatever, however you want to do it, or you use a product like
Automotive HR.
like Automotive HR. And there's a few of them out there. This one happens to be the best that we've seen in terms of their technologies and so forth are outstanding. And Stephen Warner, the CEO of the company, is just an outstanding guy and a car person for almost 30 years now. So, he's not just a techie, trying to take car dealers' money. He actually knows what he's doing. So so we're creating a place, a CRM, if you would, for job seekers. We have one. See, here's the thing that I lose my mind about. We spend a ton of money with trainers and training and so forth in terms of our BDCs and how to make those 8 zillion phone calls and what to do and or say to get a person in, or hopefully more so now, go to a person. And we're chasing this BDC lead. We get a lead through a third party that we paid for that 9 other dealers got. We chase this lead to lose, $600, $700, $800. I mean, that's real world. I mean, anyone that's on here, tell me different. I mean, it's like that's what we do. We're chasing some of these leads, and the average new car loss is $700 and some per vehicle. So, somebody tell me I'm wrong. I'm open for that. But we'll spend all that time, energy, money, training, focus on that. Got to get back to that BDC lead, man. We got to get back to him in 15, 20 minutes. Got to get back to him differently. We got to get back to him. Got to get him in. Got to get back to him. Yet a job applicant will let him sit there forever. Anthony ran a live, and I didn't catch all of it, but talking about a dealer said, I'm going to run an ad now, and then we'll get after it in a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks or something. It was like, dude, you might just set your money on fire. I mean, it's just not happening. The way that you chase, the way that you handle an opportunity with an applicant is really, truly more important than chasing that BDC lead. The amount of potential revenues that new hire is going to bring you, regardless of position, is vast. It's not losing $750. They're going to make you hundreds of thousands of dollars, almost regardless on the position that we're talking about in the car dealership. But it's got to be handled right. And we have to put them in a CRM, and we have to follow that person up, and we have to keep that person. We have to reach out to that person immediately in a professional manner and make that happen. If not, you're spinning your wheels. It's a total waste of time, money, energy, and everything else. It makes no sense whatsoever. At the very least, treat it like a BDC lead. At the very, very least, treat it like a car lead. It's worth more. It's worth more. It's a human being. It's a potential superstar for you. If they're average, if they suck, they're worth tens of thousands of dollars to you. If they suck. So they deserve our attention, for sure.
Yeah, well, you've covered a lot of the things that we do that make a successful campaign from beginning to end already, and just what you're expressing. But to your last point, in today's world, people have options. So it's not like you're the only person that has, the applicant has reached out to. It's not their only choice that they have. So if you're going to sit on it, you're going to lose. And we find that with our team internally, the applicants that we come in contact with for all positions, not just sales. You think, lower level positions, lower level perhaps versus management. I mean, in that sense, you think, okay, well, there's plenty of people. There's never as many people as there are. There's still not plenty of them because they've got opportunity. So you, like as you're suggesting, you need to be reacting and show the love. We talk about that. You've got to let that person know from the moment they've applied to your ad that you're interested in them, that they're important, they're valuable to you. Right. If you slip up in any way in that relationship, they're gone.
Done.
They don't need your job, your opportunity.
Time. Right.
They don't know how good you are yet.
Right. That fourth generation in business, and the sign out front means squat to them. Right. It doesn't mean anything. Right. It means a lot to you, and God bless you. It means nothing to that job seeker. No. Zip, zero, nothing, absolutely nothing. No. Put it in the ad, fine, it's cool, but it means nothing to them. They'll drop you like bang. Right. and go on to the next one. If you don't do what you just said, if you don't show them the love and treat them and really go overboard, really overextend yourself. You have to let them know how important they are. You got to get rid of the attitude of and it's hey, most dealers aren't like this, but if you have the attitude of they need us more than we need them, you're going in the wrong direction, man. So and that happens very, very seldom. We're not beating up on dealers here even a little bit.
But it's competitive.
Yeah, it is competitive. They're right. They're looking at you.
Right.
They're looking at maybe a dealership across the street, and they're looking at 2 or 3 other industries.
Right.
They have their pick right now.
Yeah.
It is a job seeker's market right now, what they get to do. And we have to understand that, and we have to step up in a lot of different ways, It is a perfect time to do what I've been talking about now for years. College tuition reimbursement. Come on.
I'm beginning to see a little bit of that in some ads now, so people have heard you.
Yeah, it's
people
like,
at conferences and so forth.
Gotta do it, man. Put whatever parameters you want on it in a dollar amount, but the ability to if you've made the decision where you want to hire a college grad, right? You know, I can go into a zillion numbers here, but you know their average debt's $37,000 and some odd dollars. That person's pretty motivated to make money to pay off that stupid loan. They're never going to be able to do it on their own. Never is a big word, but it's going to take them a while. Let's help them. It's their biggest fear. So let's go ahead and offer it. Let's put it in the ad. College tuition reimbursement program. Words to that effect. It's like huge, man.
So you're talking about benefits, and that's real important when you're writing out an ad and when you're posting the ad and you're listing it, making certain that you're putting your best foot forward by including the benefits that you offer. They have to be a part of your ad. They have to be a part of what you offer. It has to be a part of how you write out the ad when you post it. So to your point, you know, that is a valuable benefit. So whatever you're doing to differentiate your organization from all others, that's one of the tips we're going to give you is, again, you're not just competing against another auto dealership. You're competing against all other industries that could possibly hire that person in your marketplace.
Yeah.
So be aware of what other industries and other people are offering.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And maybe consider having that something that you can incorporate into your business as well.
Right.
So if you want the top talent, you have to be willing to offer what other top line organizations are doing.
Right.
So listing benefits is very important.
Right. You bet it is. It's imperative right now. And here, let's go BDC right now.
Okay.
Okay. So, in my opinion, with no touch deliveries, there's only going to be a certain percentage of dealers that go forward with this long term. Okay. It was for a while. It was for everybody had to do it. Right now, a lot of people are doing it. 6, 9, 12 months from now, 35% might be doing it. Whatever you're going to do going forward, the day, in my opinion, for the most part, the day of the appointment setter, 125 phone calls and make an appointment, get them in. Mm-hmm. And $5 for an appointment and X amount of dollars for a show and X amount of dollars for a deal, I think needs to be looked at. I really do. I think there's some really super talented people out there. And I think we have to look at perhaps turning that BDC inside out and whatever it is you're going to call it. Business Development Center is a good name, but that's not what they are. They've been appointment setters. Okay? Mm-hmm. And if you want to keep that plan, if that's working for you, hey, you know, if your boat's big enough, it's cool. It's all right. However, there's an opportunity there where we can put some crazy talented people in that BDC, man, and give him or her additional opportunities, additional things that they need to do. And it's not about making 125 phone calls a day. It's about developing relationships with human beings, taking the car to them, the whole deal.
Yeah, your belief is a full sales force that can operate remote.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my perfect world.
Remote meaning that the customer doesn't physically have to come to the dealership.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Right. That every aspect can be handled via the internet, via phone, being physically done at their property, their place of business, what have you. Never having to set foot in the dealership.
In 3 months, it's been done 1 million times. So,
Right.
I mean, it's like, come on. I don't think we need a whole heck of a lot of proof.
Right.
I mean, it can be done. We were forced to do something as a dealer, as an industry.
Right.
We were forced to deliver cars to people, no touch, sign online, do everything online, give prices, menu prices, sell product online, right? Mm-hmm. And it's been done over 1 million times, so it can work if you work it. So go ahead and work it, right? Maybe you don't need to replace people coming in, touching, driving the car. I'm not talking about that. You don't have to replace it, but man, surely add it in.
Yeah, right.
I mean, make it here. What we're doing with rapid recruiting is all we're doing is making it easy for dealers to do business with us, making it such a no-brainer where it's like almost to the point of that's it. That's like I'm done. I don't need to talk to anybody. Yeah, I don't need to push any more buttons. I'm like,
Right.
I just did a recruiting campaign, right? And it's I just bought a car. I mean, make it easy. We don't have to make it hard anymore. We have been forced to make it easy on the customer. Take advantage of that.
Well, people can go, just for us as like a side thing here, people can go back into previous podcasts where you have talked about taking the car to a customer to show them the car, to do the demonstration.
Yeah,
right?
there's a few of those.
Right. More than a few.
Yeah.
Well before
Right.
the COVID-19
Right.
and everything shut down. Right.
Right.
So that same principle is what people were forced into doing.
Right.
And it was effective. So why would you stop that? I would, like you're saying, expand on that department, create a sales force that, turn your BDC into a sales force. Turn that, right now BDC reps are the low rung pretty much in a dealership. Most not as highly thought of, easily replaced, this and that. If they were turned into what you're suggesting, they'd be the king of the hill.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Could be.
All right, so
one other thing with benefits, you definitely want to list your income potential. That's an absolute must to have in any of the ads that you post.
Yeah.
As much as income is not the only motivator, people still need to know what's in it for them.
It's got to be real, too.
Yeah, and it's right. So, but you got to have it, you know. So make sure that is a part of your ad.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know why. I mean, we can get crazy here, and we've done this in the past. We've had dealers guarantee X amount of dollars for X amount of time, based on they would take their average, best of the worst. They take their average, find out what that number is, and guarantee that new hire that money for the first 90 days of employment or whatever the time period is. Why not?
Well, we've had people do yearly income guarantees.
Right, or yearly. That's right. A bunch
of times. And
bunch.
That was their decision, and they were able to, take what they're at. Like you said, the almost the least productive people that were earning this amount of money, no matter what.
Right.
I can guarantee you'll at least earn that. If not, we'll make up the difference. And obviously, I mean, it was, and they did. I mean, we've had quite a few dealers run with that for a period of time. So
we'll guarantee you $60,000 a year, and if you don't make that, we will make up the difference.
Right.
That's pretty powerful.
Very powerful.
Takes some nerve, but how bad do you want talent?
Right.
How bad do you want talent?
Well, I think about it. I don't know that any of them had to pay out money. I think, I really don't.
Yeah,
I truly believe I'd have to go back through every one of them that did it, but I, for the most part, would say that they all cruised well past what they were guaranteed.
How about technicians, Ernie? Yeah, I mean, ongoing problem, always a problem. It's always a problem. It's been a problem. It's a problem right now. It's probably going to get to be worse of a problem because younger people are not getting into the trades as much as maybe they were, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, definitely 30 years ago. Technicians, your thoughts on that? Where are you at with techs, getting techs? And I mean, we'll pat ourselves on our back, and it's like, and I'm going to give Shelley Buck a big shout out here, and what she does with technicians and what we do as a company with technicians is really, it's almost mind blowing. I mean, we've gone from, I mean, this is not that long. It's 3 years where we'd have discussions of, hey, we got a tech deal, and it was like, oh, we can't do that deal.
Because of not chasing dishonest dollars. We knew we weren't going to be able to find that technician.
Right.
And we would have been taking money that we couldn't fulfill our promise on at least a fair shot at finding somebody. So to your point.
Real aggravating.
Yeah, sure.
But we figured it out.
So part of it was like you said, utilizing some of the Boolean principle, being able to keywords and ads to help attract applicants. You mentioned Shelley Buck. She's our lead tech recruiter. A lot of what she does is things you've already mentioned to everybody else so far.
Yeah, go ahead.
A little bit of it is posting an ad because you are going to get response, but more people, we find more technicians through our database mining. Our own database, Craig's talked about, there's 750,000 people. Yeah, we've got a ton of technicians that have applied to previous ads that we have communicated with, so that we've developed. So developing a database of people, that's very important. Secondly, though, the resume mining. Craig had mentioned resume mining. That's very important. Indeed is a definite resource to use for resume mining. So what she's doing, in this case, Shelley, she's actually reaching out to individuals that are technicians, with technicians in their job title.
Right.
So their resume has that with the ad attached, and asking them if they might have an interest in this. Now, we're reaching out to somebody who is a passive job seeker because they're not really a job seeker at this point.
Right.
They're an individual that's a technician.
Right.
But we're putting an opportunity in front of them and suggesting that they may want to take a look at it. Would you be interested now or in the near future?
Right.
Here's an opportunity that we think you'd be ideal for.
Right.
So we're pushing out. We're reaching out. Well, that's very effective because
very unusual. And because the tech, broad stroke, is not in there checking job boards.
Right. So I would mention to you that this is a time, it takes time. Like, it's not like that person is going to respond to you. That's why in many of our technician recruiting campaigns, they're 90-day campaigns.
Right.
And, I know you need the person tomorrow. You needed him 5 weeks ago, right?
Right, yeah.
I get it. We get it. But that's not how fast, to Craig's point, technicians don't respond that way. They're not looking in their email every single day. They're working. They're happy. They're doing their job. But occasionally they check it.
Right. Could it happen? Yeah. But
yeah, no. So what happens is, maybe 30 days later, you get a response from this technician that you reached out to.
Right.
Hey, maybe I might be interested in that, but tell me a little bit more.
Right.
So then it goes to what you were talking about, the communication, the personal. Now Shelley has a chance to talk to them a little bit more about themselves, why they'd be interested in the opportunity, whether that opportunity is still available or not. I don't know. It may be. Let's presume it is. Let's talk about it. So it's that development, it's that database mining. So Indeed is a resource that we use.
Right.
ZipRecruiter is also a resource that can be used for database mining.
Yeah,
but it's a little bit different, though. You can't just reach out with the ad.
Right.
You have to gain permission first.
Right.
So there's another step involved.
Right, which might be better. It makes it more legit almost. So
yeah. But I'm just sharing with you that there's different steps that you're going to have, different rules that you have to follow with different resources.
Right.
So.
Right. And here's the thing, and to go back to, I hate to keep pounding on the difference and the similarities rather with the BDC, but here, when we're reaching out to a tech, I gotta figure the tech's sitting there going, wow, that's impressive. They're like reaching out. I mean, like, they really want me. They're they're chasing me.
Well,
man.
that's one of the reasons that it's effective is people like to feel wanted, right?
Yes.
How often? So if you have a tech working for you already,
Yeah,
and you
right.
like, you make sure you let them know that you care about them.
Yes,
right?
you better.
Right, because there is somebody else looking to hire them.
That's right. Keep them. Put a ball and chain on that person, man. You got to keep them, whatever it takes.
They're being approached.
That's a really good point.
They're being approached by somebody.
That's right.
I can tell you that. If you don't think so, you're wrong.
Right.
All right. Now they may not know it because they're
Right.
not looking in their email.
Right.
But I can tell you, there's emails in there from somebody after them.
Yes.
That just period. It is.
No question.
Because it is a very effective way to find technicians. So.
Right.
And then once she has somebody that they'll respond, but now just because they've responded, I might be interested in that. That doesn't mean that they're instantly ready to go.
Whoopee, we got one.
Yeah,
Right.
There's some wooing that goes on between Shelley, in this case Shelley, or that you would have to do with that technician.
That's right.
You know?
Okay. So, which you would have to do with that technician,
Yes.
which you would have to do with that technician, which you would have to do with that technician. Just because you have someone on the line, you've not pulled them into the boat. Okay, you have got to go further. So whomever you have designated at the dealership to be having a conversation, communicating with this potential tech hire. The world has to stop.
And it's
literally throw the keys on top of the roof and don't let him leave, him or her leave, figuratively. The world has to stop. There is nothing more important than speaking to that potential tech hire. There's nothing more important going on
and
right
it's
now.
to your point earlier. I mean, instantly.
Immediately.
I mean, as soon as they respond in a favorable manner, I might be interested in this. Tell me more.
That's right.
To that effect.
That's right.
You've better be calling them, phone call, text, email, anything you possibly can at that time.
That's right, dude.
Not 5 hours later, not a day later, not 2 weeks later.
Right, and it's not just the hours that you're open for business.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to point out, that as a part of her process, she works for us, but it's flexible.
Right.
We have to allow her to be flexible hours in her day,
Right.
because it's not a 9 to 5 job.
No.
So somebody at a dealership, you've got to be able to, like, if a tech is working,
Right.
you're not going to be talking to them during their day. So when are you
Right,
going to talk to
right.
them? Early in the morning, perhaps, or later on in the evening when they get home.
That's exactly
So
right, dude.
Shelley works in the morning. She'll work a little bit in the afternoon. Perhaps
Right.
she'll work in the
Right.
It's not a set schedule 9 to 5 per se.
You're exactly right. Yeah. If you want to piss off a tech, try to get him when he or she is at work, when they're trying to turn some hours.
Right.
So that's the worst time when you really want to do it. It's just not going to be effective.
Right. So, I mean, when you're working in the dealership, not to say that you can't do this, but the point where we're making to it is do it differently, do it at a different time than you have
Steve
been doing.
Munyon. Hello, Steve.
Hey, there.
Good to see you, man.
Hire the winners.
Yeah. Yeah. Great company.
Yeah.
They do.
Yep.
And
We met Steve how many years ago,
yeah,
right?
A million years ago.
Yeah.
And Steve's just a
He is.
outstanding man. Had some really
Yes, he did.
crazy stuff happen in this past year or so. But hats off to you, Steve. You're an
Yep.
awesome person.
Good man.
Really good man. So go ahead, Ernie. I'm sorry.
Well, so I just was going to say, you're working in the dealership. You're going to realize you're going to have to take some work home with you.
Right.
If
right.
in fact, somebody's going to have to take some work home with them.
Right.
If in fact you're going to be able to reach out and communicate with a technician.
Right.
All right.
Right.
And other positions. It's
Yeah.
and it's not
everything.
just, it doesn't mean it's always on the phone call, although ultimately you're going to have to talk to you're going to want to talk to the person. But you
Right.
can do a lot of it text. You
Right.
can do a lot of it email.
Right.
There's communication that you can, but be willing to do it
Right.
off hours.
Right. And
We're-
how about
we're
the
all
offer, Ernie? Let's just, I don't know, let's stay on text for a minute. Let's talk about the offer. I mean, it's like, so, hey, I got this really great deal for you. They're looking for a certified Ford tech, and that's who you are. And it's, and you only have to move your toolbox 20 miles, and it's $5 more an hour than you're making now.
Yeah. Well, you gotta be offering something. I think it's important to know why a person would want to make the move in the first place. So
Good
what's
point.
not
Great
I
question.
mean, usually work environment, culture, not feeling a part of things or not feeling appreciated. And that's why I said if someone's working for you, let them know that you do want them to be there.
That's right. Don't let them leave.
Right. So maybe they're not feeling that. Maybe they're feeling almost in the way that I felt about the car industry, where I'm busting my ass.
Right.
You're making a lot of money through my efforts, and then tomorrow I'm a zero.
Right.
Right. Well, is that technician feeling that way about what he's doing for you?
Probably.
Right. If so, that guy's going to leave.
Right.
He's not going to stay a part of your team.
Right.
Right. It just won't happen. I mean, eventually they're going to say enough of this.
Yeah.
And someone's going to woo them with not just $5, something significant more.
Right.
What they feel they're worth, and they're going to go. Or maybe it's going to be working a different schedule.
Right.
You've talked about a 4-day schedule, working whatever, being able to earn the same amount of money.
There you go.
There are dealerships that are doing that, and it's successful.
A lot.
Right.
There's more and more. And again, I don't know all my yelling and screaming over the years of 4-day work week. But I mean, dude, there is zero doubt. You get an A-level master tech, certified tech, that he or she will turn X amount of hours in 4 days as well as they will 5. It is absolutely a fact. Okay, so step up, do it. What about my existing people? If they're do the same thing.
Yeah, right. It can be done. That's the point of all.
Right, figure it out.
Right. You've got it. In today's environment, you got to be a little bit more flexible, adaptable. You got a cramp.
Oh, I got a cramp.
He's got a cramp. Oh, that's a bad news. So I'll carry that a little further so the offer is important. That communication of again, I go back to, understanding your applicant of what would possibly cause them to want to make the move. And then you can key into the advantages that your organization offers to them. And that's what Shelley does.
Right.
And she does. We've done assessments with technicians. We're on our end when we're staffing for a dealership, and Danielle's talked about this as well, and we'll get into some of what she does. But we're not trying to be the judge and jury. I'm not trying to be overly judgmental about a candidate at this stage in the game.
Correct.
We're still trying to get to a point where they want more. They want to know more about the opportunity.
Right.
You want them to know more about the opportunity, but you want to still make sure that you're not wasting all of your time in this person. But my point to you is, this is going to take time, and if you don't give it time early on, you're going to get nothing in the end. So you are going to lose more often than, you know what I mean? There's going to be people you're putting the time and effort into, and they're not going to go forward.
Right. We're not on a date yet. We're still asking to go out.
Right. So there's going to be wasted time. You have to accept that, and that's the problem there with inside the dealer culture. Time's valuable. So how do you waste it? But I'm sharing with you, invariably, it's going to happen. If you do these things that we do, you're going to waste time. To get to the person you want, there's going to be wasted time.
Right.
You got to accept it.
Yeah. And I think I want to go back to the offer for a little bit.
Okay.
In two ways. Everyone's after your technician. Dealers, everyone wants that tech in your shop. Everyone. So know that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait till they come to you and say, hey, boss, I need to talk to you about a raise or this, that, and another thing. Don't let that conversation ever happen. Try as best you can to always be in front of it. Literally constantly be giving.
Yeah.
There's at some point where it's a bad business decision, but constantly be reaching out and making sure everything's cool because everyone's after him or her. Everyone. Just assume every single person in your shop is being headhunted by another dealer in your area. Just assume it.
Right.
Or out of the area, because we're finding, dealers will relocate techs like with no problem. It's like literally very, very few times we get a dealer say, no, I don't want to relocate anybody, and relocation assistant. So you better love the one that you're with right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now that goes to say then to get that tech, because there's only two ways to do it. Farm system, build them from lube tech and D-level techs or C-level techs into certified technicians, A-level techs, and which takes time, and which is a great way to do.
I think it's a
things.
great way to do it.
I mean,
We have a client that does that.
yeah, and it's
Oh, a couple.
and that's the right way to do it, but it's long term, and it's not going to change things tomorrow. You're not going to get that A-level tech tomorrow by hiring a lube tech today, but down the line, you're not going to have the issues that you have today. So that is the way to do it. Create your farm system, pay for their stuff, just keep them, man. I mean, lock and chain. You got to keep them there. But you really do need to go, I'm going to use the word overboard, but you need, and overboard's the wrong word, but you need to be so aggressive in your offer, in your offer. I'm talking about legit sign-on bonuses. I'm talking about, and just write this one down. Just think about this one if you guys are listening about technicians here. And you can do this really with any position. But with a tech, hold back an hour or two. If they're, just to use a figure, and you're going to think I'm crazy depending on what part of the country that you're in right now listening to this. But let's just say they're making $30 an hour. Hold back an hour a week. So you're holding back $30 a week from them. And match that times 2. So in other words, 3 hours at $30 an hour, it's $90 a week that you're putting in a kitty that the first Friday in December or whatever it is, you're going to give them all that money. So you're talking about, what did I say, 90 a week, so, $5,000 or whatever. That's a pretty good way to retain going towards retaining a technician. Now, obviously, he or she leaves. They only leave with the hour that, their hour, not your 2 hours. But it's a retention bonus. Just put it in. Do it tomorrow. Don't even think about it. I mean, it's like a zero-brainer, a no-brainer, an absolute no-brainer in retaining that person. Added education, tools, insurance on tools. Just look at every single possible avenue to get that person, and then once you get them, to retain them. It's absolutely imperative. And that goes to every single person. It goes to the admin person in the office. It goes to the accounts receivable payable person. It goes to the title clerk. Can you imagine being a title clerk at a car dealership right now with no DMV? I'd be blowing my brains out. I mean, these poor people that are doing that job right now, we have to understand what they're going through. And what are we doing with our people in the office? How are we taking care of them? What are we offering them other than a no-brainer, hit the clock, doing the same damn thing every single day? We have to do something different with that position. We have an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. It's something that Joe talked about on a couple shows he's been on recently, is auditing our employees, to take a really good look at what we really have right now. And are we completely satisfied with every single person we have? And more so, are they in the right seat on the bus? Do we have the right people on the bus, and are they in the right seat? I mean, we just made, we're fortunate to finally get our PPP money back, bring everybody back, and, bringing back a person and moving her into a different position, is going to be actually going to pay huge dividends for us. And just doing things like that is when you really have the opportunity right now to really take a look at your business and make sure that you have the right people. And if you don't have the right people, you got to make a change.
Yeah, well, I also think that people, their skill sets can change while they're working for you. So somebody that maybe they were in a position, but they might be able to tackle more of an opportunity. So part of your audit has to be that.
Right.
You have a business has a day, you bring your children to work day, right?
Right.
What if you did the same thing with the people that already work for you, meaning spend a day in another department and another position, and see what that person does.
Yeah, man.
So in other words, you're in the sales department. You spend a day in the parts department working that job. You spend a day with the service advisor. You spend a day with a technician, seeing what they're doing. I think everyone doing that within a dealership, the appreciation for each other would certainly grow, but then opportunity also. There's maybe somebody that's like, wow, maybe I'd rather be doing this. So perhaps there's opportunity to grow your business with the people you already have,
Right.
as you said, in a different seat. But I just think culturally wise, if this were something that were on an ongoing basis, once a month for 2 days, you're going to spend, you just rotate. And I just think that your cohesiveness as a group of people would improve because appreciation for what people do within that job.
Right.
So anyway.
So what else, Ernie? I mean, in terms of legit step-by-step, you're a car dealer and you're looking to hire whatever, doesn't matter the position. What step-by-step, let's walk them through them. What's our best practices? What should they be doing?
I think some of the
things weird.
The ad, how the ad is written is very important. You mentioned the proper keywords, tag words, so that it gains SEO. The resources used, we definitely.
All right,
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, go ahead.
All right. So tag words and keywords. See, so it's very important to throw a wide net to attract the kind of people that we're looking for. So if you just put in, people are gonna respond to what's in their resume, what they call themselves. Mm-hmm. So you can put all the fancy titles. We've talked about this ad nauseum. You can put all the fancy, sales concierge or product specialist. No one has that on their resume.
Right. Just go with product specialist.
Right.
I mean, we get it. That's what you want them to be.
Right.
But that's not what the common person thinks
Right.
of themselves. I'm a product specialist.
Right. Because they're going to Google.
Right.
They're Googling jobs.
The job.
Right. And that's where the AI comes in. They're Googling the job. So if your job is not available via Google, it doesn't exist. So if they're Googling, they're not Googling product specialists is my thing. Now they might be Googling pharmaceutical sales, right? So should that be a tag or a keyword in your ad? You bet, right? Want to hire more women? Put more female-dominated industries into your description or in your keywords or tag words. Or whatever diversity you want to go for, what is being dominated in that area, and use those as tag and keywords. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So those words are so important, and sometimes we leave them off. Especially at the end of the ad, you can just load it up, and I forget. And some of them are I don't know. I'm taking a guess here. Indeed might be 20, 25 tag words and you're done. You can't use anymore. Whatever the case might be, they have a limit, which makes sense. But you got to load it up with, okay, who would do well at this job? And who do I want to attract? Mm-hmm. And you'll attract them through search using those keywords and tag words.
Right. And then the title, you had mentioned people would put sales representatives because I'm looking for more than one.
There we go.
All right. Well, there's a little catch to that. You have to have it sales representative, singular, or otherwise your search goes, kaflooey. You won't get the same amount of response. So that's a little tip that you got to pay attention to.
Right. Because they're not going to Google that.
Right.
They're not going to type that in.
Right.
They just won't.
Right.
So it's weird. But it's just so true. So,
right.
Yeah. So what else? So, all right. So we want to title the ad properly. We want to describe it properly. You got to proof the ad. Sometimes we've made mistakes.
Well, we talk about so we have we're specialized, right? And part of the reason we have the multitude of people working with us is because we're doing multiple, lots and lots of advertising for many, many dealerships, many different positions. It's what we do for a living, right? It's our job. Joanna Weber is one of our key people. She actually is the one that posts the ad. So Joe and I and you and others, we may write the ad, but you still then got to take that and physically go to the internet and post it on these different job boards. And that's something that Joanna does. So you were mentioning proofing the ad. Well, part of it is even when you put it into the template, it's got to be aligned properly.
Right.
It sounds simple.
Good point.
But aligning the ad so that when it appears, it appears properly.
Right, and it appears both on a laptop and on a cell phone properly.
Right.
So it's got to be formatted properly.
So I mean, I know so what we're making point to you is that there's a lot of little things that make a difference in an end result of a campaign. And everything that we do, you could do on your own. The value of using a professional service is simply that we know all the pitfalls and we don't do them. We avoid those. So the money you invest gets a better return on that.
Right.
It's, so yeah, it costs a little more. We're for profit. I mean, however, on the backside of it, you're going to get a better result, period. And you're still allowed to, function doing your job, what you're supposed to be doing, which is selling automobiles. So that's one of the things that Joanna does. The way we talked about the compensation, that's really important. Making sure you have the address of the ad, not just, you have to have where the interviews are taking place, the address, the zip code, the city, the state. You can't just post to a broad area. I mean, it's very detailed any longer, and you see that quite a bit.
Right.
So that's part of it.
Right, and you got to make sure that that's right. Sometimes you go, oh, we're going to be holding them here, and then at the last minute you change your mind. That could screw up everything, man.
Sure.
You got everybody showing up at whatever location, and it's like, oh, no, man, you got to go over there, man.
Well, right, because the name of the company is the name of the company, but that does not necessarily mean where they're going to interview. So there's two different items, and that you have to pay attention to that. So those are some things that she just to get things started. Is very, very important.
Right.
Okay.
Right, and it's intense. It's like it's constant, and you can't make a mistake. I mean, you really can't make an error. Well, error screws everything up.
Let's face it, we're human beings. So in our business, errors are going to happen.
Right.
And they're little. They are seemingly little errors, but something not having the zip code, having it wrong, your response is done. You're not. It just messes it up until you correct it. You have the wrong city somehow because dealerships have multiple locations, same name, and so forth. Somehow you get the wrong. No, it's completely off track. So. To your point, you got to really proof it, pay attention. Someone else's second set of eyes should take a look at whatever you've put up online.
Yes.
It just helps.
For sure.
So that's part of it.
For sure. You wanted to talk about Danielle and what some of the things Danielle does. Danielle Burke, like most of the people that's been with us, since they were 12 years old. But so Danielle basically handles most of the time so-called executive positions,
management,
general managers, general sales managers, controllers, experienced salespeople sometimes, F&I managers, admin people. Am I missing someone? I feel like I am, but
anything, any of the
typically anything other than green pea, new hire salespeople or BDC people. She does a lot with BDC directors, managers, and that kind of thing as well. And just a ridiculously outstanding job with what Danielle does. So take us through her day. What does she?
I will. Just before we do, I have to smile for just a moment. You were saying earlier on this whole conversation of how the longevity of people working for our company.
Yeah. That
I do think is I have some role in that. I do think that I've been able to help people see the value in who we are. Because there's ups and downs, right? There's, so it's like a buffer in some ways.
Like when I go off.
Because it's a business.
He'll be okay in an hour. Just leave him alone for a little bit.
But that includes all the trainers that have been with us for 20 years. I mean, so to your point, there's something there. So Danielle, her job is similar to what Shelley does. We've created the ad, we've posted the ad. Her success is a couple things. One, we talked about the database. the database is gigantically important. Indeed mining, resume mining, that's very important. Her communication with applicants, her relationships that she's now developed doing her job over the years has proven now to be just phenomenally successful. And again, your dealership could do the same. I mean, that's kind of the idea of an HR person or management people. They have contacts that they can reach out to. Well, our contact base is just gigantic. And that's a big part of what she's doing. When we have a need for finance managers, she's already has a list, a huge list of people that she's already communicated at some point in time about a finance manager opportunity.
Right.
And she can reach back out to those people without spending a dime other than time and a lot of time to reach back out to these people, talk to them, and review the next opportunity. So that's part of what she's doing. Part of it is that database mining, the resume mining, where she's reaching out to people saying, hey, here's an opportunity, similar to the tech. Would you be interested? And then immediately being in contact with those people. That's the really where the rubber meets the road. We talked about this. You've got to be able to communicate instantly when somebody's ready, when someone has any interest at all. And that's what she's doing. Again, odd hours, not always 9 to 5, the flexibility within that. But it's that, so with Danielle, I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. It's the internal knowledge that she has of her own database. It's the database through resources like Indeed, ZipRecruiter, resume mining, and then posting ads. We get a ton of response to ads. And that goes back to what Craig was saying earlier. I'm good at the moment. Is the multiple resources. You don't fish with just one bait. You don't fish in just one pond. You have to use everything available to you because you don't know who ultimately is going to be the best candidate.
Right.
For that dealer,
Right.
In our case, or for you yourself as a dealer.
Right.
You want to have,
Right.
if you can interview 3 people for the opportunity and they're all outstanding, that would be better than interviewing just one.
Right. And if you really want to do what we do and not have to pay us, here's what you need to do. All right. So you got to find the candidate that whose skill set most closely matches what you're looking for as a dealer. You have to reach out to that person. We have to phone interview them. Danielle uses 3 very specific interview questions that are delved deep.
The assessment.
We came up with years ago, or not years ago, but a couple years ago, I came up with for each position a position questionnaire, we call it, which gives us a kind of a psychological profile, basically, of how that person feels about that position and very specific areas of responsibility within that position. And so part of the package that we send out to the potential hire is this assessment that must be filled out and returned. And if we don't like it, they're out.
Correct.
So if you're a dealer, this goes beyond the resume. Resumes are resumes. Half of them are fiction. I mean, it's just, they are. So if you really want to get to know a potential hire, put a questionnaire, a position questionnaire together on their philosophies of what they're going to be doing in their job description. So we put that out.
And then after that is when she now will reach out and have a conversation.
That's right, plus a video.
Well, so to your point with what she's doing that way is once she's had that assessment back and knows, okay, on the surface things look positive, she has a conversation, it's plus or minus. I really love this person.
Right.
The video is an absolute requirement.
Right.
It's a pass fail.
Right.
If in today's world, the video it's just kind of gives a way for that person to express why they'd be interested in the opportunity, a little bit of who they are.
Right.
You get a way to talk to them.
Right. It's not a rehash of the resume. We have the resume.
Right.
So it's like, who are you as a man or a woman? and why should I be interested in you? It's not a matter of judging a book by its cover. It's not it's not a matter of seeing their skin color, the way they present themselves on film, anything. It's about them having the well, I'd like to know that they know how to use the technology of being able to shoot a video on a cell phone, because if you don't, you probably can't work in the car business today. But, we want to know, we want to get a feel who they really are as a human being. So then when we're talking to the dealer, we can say, look, this girl's going to blow you away. Her video is like, I mean, her passions, her hobbies, what she's into. I mean, is like, this is an interesting human being. This is someone you have to talk. Along with the position questionnaire, in my opinion, this is a person that you have to talk to. So if you're a dealer doing this, we strongly urge you to do it this way prior to that person ever coming in face to face. Let's, it's the old thing. I hate this. Fire them before you hire them. I really hate that phrase, but we're getting so much information about that potential new hire before they ever hit our door, which I think is really important. It's a time saver, and it saves time for the person too. And a lot of times we're talking about relocating people, so they can't be there. So before you're going to put a plane ticket, depending on the job, before you put a plane ticket in the mail for this person to come face to face with you, you have a pretty good understanding who this person is as a human being. So that video goes long ways with it. And then the interview questions that she asks, I think, are just so bold and they're so good. It's not some big, long, crappy interview, made up. It's three very specific questions that tells you a lot about the person. So then ultimately when she's talking to the hiring manager at the dealership, she is loaded with information to either sell or not even present that individual. So you at the dealership, I mean, you got to have all that information in front of you. Now, what does that take? It takes some thinking, it takes a plan, and it takes some time. But it takes the effort and the willingness to do that. This is beyond posting a job. That's what we're talking about
hoping
here.
for the best.
Right, yeah, and just throwing darts in the dark here. And then it's a matter with Danielle. Then it's a matter of, she's dealing with a lot of different personalities. So then she's got to fit these personalities together and then schedule that person at a time that's suitable for both parties, but, more or less suitable for the person that's doing the hiring at the dealership. So it gets, it can get a little tricky too, and then follow up.
Well, she's talked about how at times she's a counselor to either party.
Man. That's right.
Either party.
Right.
The job applicant who's now had the interview with the dealership and is considering the offer just isn't quite sure that they're comfortable moving their family.
Right.
Or leaving where they're at to go forward.
Right.
So she's helping people over the edge that way.
She's a bartender, priest.
Right. And same with the dealer.
Psychologist.
The dealer's, I'm not quite sure this is the right. And so she's talking with the dealer and overcoming their fears and concerns and objections.
And she gets in their grill a lot because she's so sold on them because of all the steps that she's done. See, if she half-assed it, like I'm saying, like we're suggesting a dealer do. If you do all this, that's not half-assing it. So if she's done all that, and the dealer says, I don't know, Danielle will go right after him because she's done all the steps. She knows this person, and she knows who's going to work and who's not going to work out. Based on experience, and she's just naturally bright, and so on and so forth.
But you're hitting on something there, is that she knows that people are rare. Okay, right? Hireable people that are fitting. No one's going to be 100% perfect, right? There's just no one's born that way. No one's going to be that way, right? So you can't just expect that and I'll get the next one. Send me another one. Let me talk to another one. There isn't another one, so to speak. You know, this is your one.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not forcing somebody on somebody, but at the same time, don't she's already, to your point, gone through all of those stages.
Right.
You've interviewed them.
Right.
You just have,
Right.
you don't want to have buyer's regret.
Right. Right.
Buyer's remorse.
Right.
So let's get past that. And
Right.
and so what I was expressing is that she's able to do that, and then people are being hired and they are the right fit, and everybody can move on. If you're at the dealership, somebody's going to have to help you bridge that gap yourself too, because oftentimes
Right.
we don't.
Right.
We're like, let me see what else is there. And now you're fiddling around, wasting time, and the next person isn't the better person per se. It's going to be the same person, just now
right.
you've wasted more time and you're still not sure.
That's right.
So that is part of what she does.
Yeah. And that gets tricky. And I
sure
can
it
understand
does.
from the dealer standpoint, it's like, well, what else you got?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, like this is the one.
Yeah.
So like, it don't matter what else I got. This is the one. So it gets a little tricky. And how about Jane and Kyle? See, so we have what are called, internally we call them schedulers. These two are, I don't know, they're insane. And they literally work
Yeah.
7 days a week.
Thank you both.
They deal literally in hundreds of thousands of people a year, like literally. And they're scheduling people for interviews, mostly for the trainers, or a lot of times
Our client.
are direct to the client.
Sure.
But and they have, we have a very specific process and system where we send out, I see that you applied for the job and blah, blah, blah. And then they either schedule at that point in time or they don't. If they don't, then we have a follow-up
Sure.
a process. And they either respond to that or they don't. If they don't, we have an additional follow-up process to that. And they either do or they don't. And then we have a fourth follow-up process to that, a final letter, if you will. So as a dealer, are you that committed to getting talent?
Right.
If you're not, then pick up the phone and call us. But if you are that committed, you can do this on your own. But you have to have that full commitment in a process in place and be prepared to fulfill that, or you're just spinning your wheels.
Yeah, and you can't have the mindset, well, they didn't respond to this, they're not interested, or they're not worth
Right.
pursuing.
It's not the case.
That's not the case
It's
at
not
all.
the case. Could have gone into their spam. They don't check their email every 15 minutes like we do.
Right.
There's a zillion reasons.
Right.
Plus the fact they're looking at other opportunities.
Right.
So we have to sell them perhaps on just coming in to interview.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that.
We can't even begin to put a number on how many people actually have got hired in auto sales, for instance, that are making tons of money for a dealer client that would never have gotten there had we not pursued.
Oh,
right?
no question
Right?
about it.
So-
no question about it.
Right.
No question about it. Anthony talked about some kid today, and I forget the name of the dealership or what he was even selling. And I have no idea what the background was, but a new hire, 3 months in, the guy sells 30-some cars, makes $16,000. 3 months in. I mean, is that person worth some work and some effort
Right.
to get in? A new hire, never sold cars before.
Think of that.
Earns $16,500. Now, I don't know what kind of pay plan he's on, but he had to make the dealer $75,000. I mean, it's like, come on. How much effort? I mean, it in my opinion, it's worth some effort to get that person into your store.
Right.
Oh, like whatever it takes effort.
Yeah, you talked about it at the beginning. People are more valuable than devices, okay? So, but that's not always the mindset within an organization. So you got to spend more time, more persistence. Don't judge books by covers. Don't judge resume. Just you got to really dig in.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah, the thing that we've talked about, and some of these things are so old because I mean we've talked about since Jump Rule 10, treating everyone as though they're going to be dead at the midnight, with respect, love, consideration, so forth, because you don't know what's going to happen. We've talked about don't judge a book by its cover ad nauseum, and have proven that point a bazillion times over the last 23 years because you don't know. You just don't know. You didn't invite that person in, did you? Why? I don't like the way that person looks. Like, what? Well, I don't understand what you mean. It's almost alien to us when people say stuff like that. It's like, what do you mean? Like, just relax. Let me do my thing. At the end of the week, you don't want to hire them, don't hire them. But just let me do my thing here, and you'll be all right.
See, yeah.
It will be all right. So we've hired them. Ultimately, what I would hope that one of our goals is to retain that person, right?
Most definitely.
Right? Because the cost of turnover is, stupid high. We've talked about this before, but that moment of onboarding is so key. Ladies and gentlemen, you found out that you can sell cars in a touchless way. You can hire employees in a touchless way. All the I-9s, everything that you have that new employee fill out at the dealership can be done online before they walk in the store. Stop wasting their flippin' time with that mountain of paperwork that can be done beforehand. Have it done while they're at home, before they ever come into your dealership. So when they come into your dealership, boom, let's start developing them. Let's start training them. I've gone through this a million times. But throw a party. For God's sake, make it a big deal.
It's got to be memorable.
It's got to be memorable. So when they go home that night, they say, because the first thing someone's going to say, how was your first day at work? They threw me a flippin' party. I got these cool business cards. My work area was awesome. Look at all the swag they gave me from the company. Like, I'm ready to go. I have all the information I need. I actually started my training today. I spent time in every department in the dealership. Like, I know what's going on.
Right.
This is going to work out for me. As opposed to nothing happened, and they go home and go, how was it? I think we're going to keep looking.
Even if they don't say it, that's in their head.
Yeah.
Period. Once that's in their head, it doesn't go away.
Dude, they've quit. They've mentally checked out sometimes an hour or two in. They might hang around to grab 2 or 3 paychecks from you, but they've checked out. Right. They're gone.
And it's not their fault.
No. Typically,
it's not their fault.
Typically, it's not. Sometimes, do we make...
Well, sure.
Hey, do we make mistakes in hiring? You bet. You bet. Understand it, see it early, and handle it. But let's wrap our arms around these people and love on these people, man. They're new hires. Let's keep them forever. That onboarding is so important, and then the ongoing training, like real training. And I hate the word training is just so. I hate the word training. Developing that person as a key employee, as a team player, as a partner in the success of your store. That person, you don't know who's going to end up being the next GSM, the next controller at your store, the next F&I manager. You don't know. That person that you hired as a porter could end up running the damn place at some point in time if he or she's developed properly. So let's do that. Let's do that. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes to retention, retaining them, if you've onboarded, if you've hired properly and you've onboarded properly and you've developed properly, you got to keep developing. It's not like one day and you're done. If one of the things that we need to step up is our ongoing training and development. Although I think we don't do a horrible job with it, but it's something that I'd like to see improve. For sure. But it's so key to the overall success of your business, to your company, of that ongoing development, that ongoing training, if you will. A couple things, and I don't know how you want to finish up, but a couple things that I wanted to talk about, and I've been teasing here for the last couple of days. I'm going to kind of talk about what we're doing. It's called rapid recruiting. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about it, making it easier for people to buy cars. We're making it easier for people to use us. Within 2 weeks.
I would think so.
I think within 2 weeks we'll be fully beta tested to where you literally come to our site. You do not have to talk to a human being.
Just use your fingertips.
Yeah, literally don't have to use it. It'll be broken down into a couple segments, so-called a la carte. If you're looking for whatever position, you'll have a full understanding of what we do for that position, our guarantees behind that position, your exact cost for that position. You click on the box, you fill in some minor information and like you said before, where the interviews are, who the contact person is, so on and so forth.
Yep.
Right? Next thing you hit is pay. So bang, that's done. Next thing, that'll take you to another screen that'll flip up that you add in what we call the you gets, what makes your dealership special. We use ad templates. So you're just basically filling in the blanks
Right.
I'm talking about minutes. I'm
From
not
beginning
talking
to
about
end,
an hour, half hour. I'm talking about literally 5 minutes you're in and out of there of what makes your dealership special. You just fill in the blanks, you hit go. If you get screwed up, you just call, there's a person to talk to. So it's easy. So you have that option, bang, you're done. That goes right into our CRM, and is sent in right to our folks. The ad gets posted. We're off to the races. Your recruiting deal's done.
Yep.
You'll be reached out to, tell you how it's going. I'm so-and-so, I'm handling your campaign. That's it. Or we have, ongoing then subscriptions where that, we can, over a period of time, save you a crap load of money and handle everything for you. But again, all done by the push of a button. Rapid recruiting. It's like nobody does it. It's revolutionary. It's full transparency. It's no touch. We can literally not make it any easier for you. There's just like zero way to make it any easier for you. So we're really looking forward to that. And some of the changes that we've made internally, I think, are just so awesome, and along with the MaxSafe product and the PermaSafe product and everything else that we do. So what have we missed here today, dude?
There's only one other thing I think you might still want to talk about was assessments, pre-employment.
Yeah.
I don't know if, to me, the best time to do one of those is after the person's been hired. You talked about doing the audit of employees. One of the things that I am an advocate of, if you can identify strengths and weaknesses of your people that are on your team after they've been hired, they're going to be more open to it. I think the biggest downfall to the assessments, predictive indexes of, is this person going to be right for the job, all those kind of things. I think people fake them, to get the job. I think a lot of people are smart enough to figure out how to answer them in a way in which you're going to be told what you want to hear. So you're still not getting, all the information or the right information. I think they're valuable after a person's been hired to help identify who they are and what they are and all that kind of stuff. So that's my opinion on those.
Right. Well,
in a nutshell, without going into a lot of time.
Dude, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's these guys sat around somewhere along the line. Someone sat around and said, "Okay, we have all this psychology. How can we use it?" Oh, I know. We can figure out if a person's going to be good at their job or not.
Yeah. I think just me being me. The downside to it is, you can hurt somebody in the long run, a younger person, anybody. This is goes into Jonathan Dawson. I know you saw it. He had something on there about crap, being
that was interesting.
Right? The way he put it there, you're accumulating some else's crap, right? Yeah. My point being, so if that assessment says you can't do this, or you're interpreted that you're not going to be
what's that do to your head?
It stays with you.
Right.
And the rest of your life, unless you're strong enough to overcome that,
right.
That garbage in stays in. So garbage in should be garbage out, but not everybody's equipped to be able to do that. Yeah. So now they will never the rest of their life pursue a sales opportunity. I'm just using sales. It could be something else. So I think they're very damaging as much as they're quote unquote helpful, because as much as it's only intended to be a tool in the hiring process, That's not how most people use it. They use it as it says they can't do this, so
Right,
they can't do it. I'm not hiring them for this.
Right.
Right? Rather than
Bad.
just one tidbit of, information as a
Right.
way to maybe help manage and develop that person. No, it's used as the judge and jury.
Correct.
Not intended to be that way, and they're told but that's not how people use it. So
That's right.
I'm against them for those purposes.
Yeah.
I think after a person's been hired, you can identify
Yeah.
and be able to say, wow, look at this person. They've
Yeah.
got traits I wouldn't
Yeah.
have thought of.
Yeah.
Maybe they haven't thought of.
Yeah.
Maybe we can incorporate that into the
Right.
future.
Right. Well, we talked about Son Joe. It's like the last thing he probably ever thought about doing was becoming a salesperson. But what's he
he's
get his
great at it.
biggest
Yeah.
kick out of? I mean, he's a selling fool. And it's like,
It's the high.
and you would never,
At first.
that guy's a salesman. You would never,
Sure.
have a conversation with him, say, well, shit, that guy's like a superstar salesman.
It's the intellectual challenge that he enjoys.
Right. Well, it's he's fully self-aware. I mean, his emotional intelligence is off the chart, in my opinion. So, it's that's important in surrounding yourself with in any organization is people that have the emotional intelligence and have that empathy, self-awareness, and all the other pillars that they're like dramatically important. So, but.
So that was one thing I think you were interested in talking about to some extent today. I mean,
Yeah.
that's enough.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan. And they're all super freaking expensive, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one that we talked to a few years ago that was different, and it's seemingly awesome.
Yes.
But it was a fortune,
Yeah.
man. It was like, I'm not.
Well, and I get the developer of that whole. I get it. I can see we are the value of a person. What is it worth, and all that. I get it, but.
Yeah.
I still don't like the idea of pre-employment.
Right.
I'm okay,
Right.
because now I'm comfortable with you. I've been working
Yeah.
with you,
Yeah.
and you're looking to help develop me and grow me. Here's
Yeah.
how we're going to use this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Then I'm okay for them, but
Yeah.
not as
Yeah.
a pre-employment thing. I'm not a big fan.
Hey, just to wind things up here with all y'all here, a couple things. Here we are, and I know we had some superstar guests lined up to come in the studio when this COVID happened. I will be reaching out to you all to send out re-invites to do that, but we perma-safed. I think I said this. We perma-safed the entire studio, so this thing is you can't get any more sanitized or disinfected than the studio is. So it's beyond safe. So we're going to be reaching out to those people. Those of you that would like to come in the studio, you're welcome to reach out to me. And, if it's a fit, we'll work something out. We do, out-of-town guests, we put them in a hotel here locally and so forth. So I'd be happy to do that. I posted something the other day about sponsors, and I'll reach out to some of our older sponsors and see if they want back in. I'm raising your prices, because the numbers are up. So, but if you do want to be a sponsor of the program, it's like stupid cheap money. So it's kind of a no-brainer.
And we do a legitimate presentation of our sponsors.
Right.
It's not like
Troy last week when he was sitting here, he got a lead while he was sitting here.
There you go.
While he was on the show. So, it's like it's real. It's like people actually get business from the Recruiter podcast. So, so there's that. So, if you know somebody that'd like to be in studio on the podcast, we do not, just so there's no confusion, we do not do remote podcasting. We did it one time with Jay Leiter, the president of PermaSafe. That's because the pandemic had just started, didn't want to put him on an airplane, but we do not do remote. It's all done in studio. President Trump, I would probably do
At the White House.
Yeah. God, well, I'd love to sit across from Trump. That would be so awesome. Unless you're that, no, it's not happening. Ernie, once again, thank you so much, dude, for everything you do. If ladies and gentlemen, no shit, if you have any questions, and I think people say this stuff, and I'm not sure that everybody means it, but no baloney. If you've got questions about anything about recruiting, anything, and you want to try it on your own, call, text, email, and Ernie's going to give you some ways to do that here in a minute. And we will answer your questions free. Okay? Free. We put a lot of content out there. A lot of content. I mean, a bunch. You go to our YouTube channel, AutoMax Recruiting, there is, I think, 1,100 videos. I mean, there's an entire 25 set, what did I call it? The Recruiter?
The Recruiter.
The Recruiter.
Series, the Recruiter.
I mean, it's like, dude, it's like free content. But if you don't feel like doing that, just call. We'll answer your questions for free. That's who we are. If you can't or don't want to handle that, we will take your money. Okay? Everything that we do is guaranteed. So you literally can't lose. You literally can't lose. Unless you really totally screw something up, you cannot lose with this deal. It's as simple as that. So, in saying that, what are the myriad of ways that people can get a hold of you, Ernie?
If you want to do phone, you can do 800-878-5090 on line 1. You can do Ernie at automaxrecruiting.com. All the social media sites I'm on. If you're not already a friend, friend me.
Yeah.
Inbox. I'll respond to all of it. So, and then the website, we have our contact form on that, AutoMax Recruiting and Training. You'll see the contact form. Easy to click on that. That comes to us, so we'll get you that way.
Yeah.
Those are the easy ways. If you want to use my cell, you can reach out that way. That's 609-432-7309. Text me, call me. I'll get back. Easy.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you how quick, because we truly do walk like we talk. It's like a lead will come in, and I will, reach out and say, oh, cool. Anybody working this? And Ernie will, the reply, yeah, I already talked to him. It's like immediate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, we really do what we say that we do. Thank you again so much, as always, for tuning in, watching. Tell a friend, share the stuff out. Watch on YouTube, watch on our AutoMax Facebook page, but share it out.
Yeah, share.
We'd really appreciate it. We love you all, and we wish the very best, and stay safe out there, and peace.
Thank you all.
Good?